Wilson Island is actually based on a place that my dad used to take the entire family to go fishing. It was a there's a place in North Carolina called uh, Harker's Island, and we used to go there. We'd go fishing. We stay at the Marina Motel, and it was a big part of growing up for me. And I always thought it was a weird little town. I mean, Wilson Island is a very fictionalized version of Harker's Island and a much weirder town, version of Harker's Island. Um, but that's what I wanted. And in fact, I considered going back and visiting as I was writing the novel. And I said, no, I don't want the real version of Harker's Island to cement too much in my head. I want this to be this sort of this hyper surreal version of this town. But lots of lots of Bones of Our Stars, Blood of Our World is pulled from my life, to the fact that I had a couple of friends who just recently read the book, and they both came to me and said, how much, they said, most of this is just your life, right? And I was like, yeah, that's true. It's all pulled from, different things that happened to me, different people I've met over time. So it's very much a personal book. The novel is about this small town, small coastal town, and there is a killer at work. He is killing people and harvesting organs for an unknown purpose. And our main characters that we meet are, there's Willa, who is a young woman who really wants to get, to see her life unfold before her. She has, she's looking to the horizon of where she wants to go, but for various reasons she's stuck on this island. um, Her dad is a sort of a small town gangster in the island. He's a nice guy, but he's a criminal, and she knows that. um, Her best friend Sarah is sort of a ride or die who will tell it like it is, but will do anything for you. Her boyfriend Kenny is uh, struggling with the things that a teenage guy might struggle with in his situation, and handling them very, very poorly. And then they have another friend who goes by the nickname the Warlock, who is sort of a local, drug dealer slash nerd, who knows he has some sort of destiny ahead of him, but he doesn't know what that destiny holds. And all of these characters. So the book has a huge cast. I go to great lengths to try to make every character, even if they only appear for a few pages, to make them realistic and to make them empathetic, um, and to help the reader know where they're coming from, even if they don't like them. Um, and many of the characters are really trying to get somewhere else. They don't want to be on Wilson Island. They want, to spread their wings and go somewhere else. But for various reasons, many of them have found themselves stuck, or find themselves quickly getting stuck uh, on this island. The killer in the book, he goes by a few different names. Like townfolk call him the Ripper, and he's called Mr. No Face by some characters. And in the novel, I call him, a lot of times I just call him the killer, because his identity is a secret. Throughout most, throughout huge portion of the novel, it's the mystery is, who is this murderer. But we do spend a lot of time in his head, uh, and while he is not a good person at all, I wanted readers to kind of feel some sympathy for him, and to see he's not, even though he's a bad person, he might not be all bad. And in like one of the very first scenes where we get into his head, uh, we see him feeling bad about who he just killed, and meeting a dog and not wanting to kill that dog, and liking the dog, and thinking about who he's going to kill next, and how he's trying to puzzle that out in in his own twisted version of of a humane kill. How do I make that work? And then at the same time, he is growing increasingly frustrated because things just aren't working out for him the way he wants. And much like the heroes of the book, he feels trapped. He is trapped by a destiny that he can't get away from, something that someone else has put on his shoulders, and that frustration just keeps mounting and mounting for this character. So I didn't want him to be like a Michael Myers or a Jason, which is for the most part pretty personality free. You like those characters because they are such forces of nature. I wanted this killer to be a little more grounded in that he's just making tons of mistakes and he's just getting more pissed off at himself for making those mistakes, and that's actually making him more and more dangerous too.